I got a question for you guys. How do you see from the sky? No one knows?
You jumped really high.
Jump really high. That's a great place to start. You can climb on top of a mountain. Even better place to start. One of the major reasons for my discipline is because people want to see in the sky no matter where they are. And so for a bunch of young professionals that are going out into the world and going to be working with drones at some point in their life, I think you guys should all know a little bit about how these things are made. So way back when, we would take all the help we could get when it comes to getting help from above. But nowadays, we're a little bit more sophisticated. We can deliver things using things that we make and can pilot on our own. But can people tell me why these things can stay in the air? The floor is open. Who's got the idea?
Science.
Science. Yes. No, that is the exact no. That's on the right path, though.
Little propellers.
Propellers. Yes. So propellers are wings that are twisted. Wings, the basic operation is you have a flat plane, you're going this way, and air is getting compressed underneath, and the air that's running over the top of it is going so fast that since gas expands to fill the entire volume that's available, has a lower pressure on top. These two things combined give you a positive lift up. Take that idea, twist it, spin it, you have a propeller that keeps you going up. Now, this is the big picture. This is what we want at the end of the day. We want a frame that has a couple of motors and can go where we want it to go. I think you can handle a mini heart attack. Yeah. This stays down. Okay. You want me to? Nothing yet. You can't really do anything yet either. Okay. Can you tell me what it says on the top there? There's a bunch of little text on it. You can turn it around and spin it as you need.
Oh, it says safe.
Yeah. That means this thing will not work regardless of what the radio says. The motors are currently deactivated. The motors, these are called brushless motors. Reason being is because they don't have any contacts between the internal electrical components, which are controlled by the flight controller, and the outboard magnets that spin the propeller. This operates on the principle of electromagnetism. So the coils of copper are charged with electricity. They create a magnetic field, which pushes the permanent magnet on the outside one over. And it keeps going around and around. Now, to pulse these magnets, you use an electronic speed controller. This pipes energy directly from the battery to the motor in a controlled fashion. And that's what you heard beeping at the beginning. Each of those things have their own little circuit boards within them that you can flash software onto and a whole bunch of things. Now for the power, obviously a battery. A lot of people are worried about drones because they think they can do everything and anything. The battery is the major limiting factor. Most drones nowadays can only stay up 15, if you build it really well, up to 30 minutes at a time. You can do a lot of other things a lot more cheaply for one specific purpose if you need to do observation. The Marines have been doing it for a long time without drones. And plus, these things have a limit. You can only take a battery so large with you because on airplanes, as you take off and you go to your destination, you burn fuel and become lighter, therefore needing less fuel to continue further. With this one, the weight stays the same, but you get less and less energy as time goes on. So typically you won't see quadcopters flying around with super huge batteries. You see small ones that are only meant to last 15 to 20 days. I have here. Now, this is typically one of the more expensive parts of the quadcopter. It's the brain. Its basic and sole responsibility is to take the things that the radio says and communicate them in a fashion that the motors can understand. via seats. On your sheet, you'll see that all these things are labeled. So when you go home tonight and you think, maybe I want to build one myself, you have a basic schematic of how you want to go about searching for parts. Email me later if you want more specifics or help lining up all the electrical engineering needed for this. This is just a cheap $20 flight controller. It does a few basic things. Keeps it in the air the way I want it to. It levels the plane. And if I had a camera, it would also keep the camera nice and steady. You can only do those three things. There are flight controllers out there that are much more expensive that can do a lot more. Now, the reason why I told you to keep that stick down is because the one that's down, that's the throttle. This is an electric vehicle, much like a Tesla car. So imagine getting into a Tesla car, putting your foot all the way down on the pedal, and then pressing start. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know it's going to be bad. So that's why every single person should know this joystick stays down until you want to do something with it. It's still safe. Okay, so I think you guys should all see what this looks like when it's running. Come on now. $20 flight controller, what can you say? Oh, it's timed out. Sorry, everyone. One moment. Now, there was an earlier question. When is a drone dangerous? There's only two times when a drone is dangerous. When it has props on it, and when it's too close to you. And usually, you know the first one long before the second, so try and fly in places where there are no people, because these things go really fast, sideways and down, not only up. So here. Can you hear the difference between the left and the right? The way this operates is by taking the different motors and having them fire in different ways. So that way you can have a difference in thrust, back, forward, left, right. Can you tell me what this says on top of it right now?
Armed.
Yeah. If you see that on a quadcopter, might as well be the same thing on a missile. It's dangerous at this point. This is why I don't have props on it. Remember, reason number one. They have props on it, then it's dangerous. So right now I have the self-leveling capability on. Oh, sorry. Come on. Okay, there we go. Try and hold the arm. Don't touch the arms. Yes. Grab it like this. Lift it up. Now move it side to side. Do you hear how it's reacting to what you're doing?
Yeah.
Remember how I said one of the three features I paid for on that thing is self-leveling? Right now it's compensating for the differences from where it's supposed to be and where you're putting it. Which is a really nice thing to have. Does anyone else want to hold? Okay, I'm going to start it.
I should try and put it upside down.
Yeah, if you want. It senses all three axes of direction. Do we have time for a third person? Yeah? Just kidding. So can you guys tell me what commands the motors or what fires the motors? Just real quick. Brain? The heart. It's called the electronic speed controller. It's these yellow things here. And if you hold these for long enough, you'll feel that they get pretty warm because they have about, I'd say at least 3 amps of current running through them constantly, and this battery can output up to 20. That's way more than what you need to kill a person. Don't worry, I did not have anyone touching the parts where there's electronics exposed. There are no electronics exposed. Yeah, don't worry, I got you guys covered. But I've taken you guys through now the basic parts, and I wanted to ask you guys, are there any quick questions on other pieces of drones that you've seen before that you would like to know about? I can only answer 1 or 2 questions. I'm at 10 minutes right now.
How much does your controller cost?
My controller costs $20. This one that you see up here costs $100. And this one's autonomous and that one's not.
I mean the...
Oh, the remote.
Yeah,
the remote costs about $60. And it comes with the receiver. Well, I hope when you guys see on the news, drones this, drones that, you're not too worried anymore. Because you know it's just a pile of parts and that you can shoot out of the air. And at the end of the day, you spend enough time with it, it's not that complicated anymore. They're all designed to do different things. And people have access to all have the same access, the same parts. So go out, apply it as needed. Go measure your crop yield, go deliver Domino's pizza in your way. Go take a killer shot off the